Religion was very important to Greek culture in the 7th century BCE. It served as the basis for everyday life and in society. The Greeks depended on the teachings of theology to help guide them through life. Theology was the main religion that people in Greece followed during this time, and it served as the basis of mythology that would later be adapted into their society. In the 7th and 8th century BCE, theology was a widely accepted religion that focused on the assumption that there were many gods and goddesses, and one god that ruled them all, Zeus, but he was not the supreme deity. Religion is an important aspect of Greek civilization because it is the basis of Greek social structure, the level of violence in Greece, and in everyday human life. Religion is an important aspect in the development of the Greek social structure. Greek religion is the basis of society because it provides the basis in which families are structured. From the words of Hesiod, a Greek poet, a statue of Hesiod. Quote, "For whoever flees from marriage and the oppressive ways of women wishes not to marry, then a wretched old age comes upon him, and no one to care for him. And although he lives with sufficient substance, when he dies, distant relatives divide up his estate. As for the man who chooses marriage and his lot, and takes a pleasant wife suited to his own mind, from the beginning evil goes with the good." End quote. This part of the poem explains how religion plays a large part in how society is supposed to function, by giving examples of how if a man does not marry, he will grow old and alone, and when a man dies, his relatives choose whom his belongings are to go to. Charles Smiley expands on how important religion is to the Greek peoples by saying, quote, "These poems are of unusual interest because they represent in a certain sense of culmination of human achievement after 50,000 years of progress. They are also interesting because of the enormous influence which they exercised in the ethical and religious thought of the Greeks." Although religion had an impact on the ancient Greek social structure, it also greatly impacted the level of violence that occurred in ancient Greece. Another poem of Hesiod, titled Works and Days. This is Hesiod's book of poems on theology, works and days, and Shield of Heracles. Greatly impacted the levels of violence in Greece because it created fear in people as to what would happen if they did horrible acts. In the words of Hesiod to his brother Perses, "O Perses, now hearken to justice. Do not give in to violence, for violence is bad for a miserable mortal. Even a fine man cannot easily endure her, but he falls victim to delusion and sinks beneath it. Better is to go on the other side of the road toward just acts. Justice is stronger than violence when she comes to the end. A fool knows this only after he has suffered." In this part of the poem, Hesiod speaks to his brother about what will happen if he goes down the wrong path in life. And he continues on by saying, quote, "And those who give straight judgments to foreigners and to local peoples, and do not turn aside from justice, their city flourishes and the people blossom. Peace that nourishes the young is spread over the earth for them, nor does far-seeing Zeus ever send harsh war upon them. Nor does famine ever fall upon men who give straight judgments, nor disaster. But at good dinners they eat the produce from their fields. The earth bears for them the means of life in abundance, and in the mountains the oaks bear acorns on the outer surface and nourish bees in their trunk. The woolly sheep are weighed down with fleece. The women bear children who are just like their parents. They bloom continuously with good things. Nor do they sail on ships, for the rich fields bear them crops." End quote. This basically says that if the people follow the rules, Zeus will not destroy humankind and they will flourish as a community. Religion did not only have an impact on the levels of violence in ancient Greece, but also an impact on human and work life. Religion greatly impacted how the Greeks worked in their everyday lives and in the dangers of life. In an article on ancient Greek religion, quote, "Religion kept in mind of the dangers that are always possible in human life, and before we patronize the Greek gods on the ground that they did not exist, we should observe that they stood for forces that can be seen working in the world." End quote. This explains how the gods in theology impacted the Greek peoples by saying that the gods are forces not to be reckoned with because they can create famines or they can create an abundant growing season. Also, in Hesiod's Works and Days poem, he addresses his brother about working hard and earning the good things in life. He states, quote, "O Perseus, lay these things up in your heart so that the evil strife does not hold your heart back from labor as you gawk and obsess with quarrels in the agora. For he has little concern with quarrels and the things that take place in the agora. He who holds his house the abundant and the ripe sustenance of the things that the earth bears, the grain of Demeter. When you have plenty of that, you can engage in quarrels and conflict for the sake of another's possessions. You will have no second chance to do this." End quote. Hesiod says that once you have enough grain to sustain yourself for a while, then you can have fun, but first you must take care of yourself by working hard and appreciating the fruits of labor. This shows that religion plays a role in working hard and having a full and prosperous life. Religion in Hesiod's Works and Days poem shows how belief in the gods was used to influence the daily lives of the ancient Greeks to work hard and make their communities flourish. In conclusion, religion should be taught in world civilizations courses because it provides insight to ancient Greek culture through social structure, the level of violence in Greece, and in everyday human and work life. Religion impacted the social structure of ancient Greeks through Hesiod's poems about marriage and what happens to a man's possessions when he dies. It impacted the level of violence in Greece because the gods used stories of violence to make the people of Greece fear famine, war, and droughts. Finally, religion impacted the daily lives of ancient Greek peoples by using the gods to create a good life for themselves through hard work and dedication. Ancient Greek religion is important to teach in world civilizations classes because we still use the gods' names today in branding, such as Amazon, Pandora, Dove, Nike, and Demeter, who was the grain god, where cereal comes from. And it is important to know where they come from. Our sources.